Whilst down at the Photographer Academy studio in South Wales, we're looking today at some reflectors and controlling light. Those of you who have seen my videos before and the shoots that I've done will know I'm a big fan of controlling light. I have a head set up behind me at the moment with no reflector on. It's just putting light onto a wall and it's not controlled at all. So we're going to look at 2 or 3 different reflectors, different shapes and sizes, just to show you exactly what they do. This is our standard 16 centimeter 90 degree reflector, and this is something that's also known as a brolly reflector. It's a very, very useful bit of kit to fill the brolly with light, or we can draw the shaft of the brolly back into the light to make the light source very small and just use the very, very center of the modifier. So let me put this on the front and we'll see exactly what we're going to gain. I've got a very, very big circle here at the moment, so if I stick my reflector on, we can automatically see we now get a soft-edged, controlled pool of light. Now, this could be used as a background light, we could use it from behind as a hair light, but to me it's not quite controlled enough, it's not tight enough to gain the control that we're after. So the standard 16 centimeter is great if I had one the other side as a 45-degree angle, the same as this one. We could light the wall behind and we could get our white background. It's a modifier I tend to use for lighting white backgrounds. If I'm not shooting an umbrella, we can flag the edges of the light on this side nearest the subject just to stop the light spinning back and contaminating the lighting that I may have on my subject. The next reflector I'd like to show you gives us a little bit more control with the added addition of a honeycomb grid. The 18 centimeter reflector is a bit deeper and it's a bit wider at the front to give me a different spill of light. So we'll fit this on first to show you exactly what it does, and then we'll add the honeycomb grid to it to control the pool of light even more. What you'll see immediately is we have a wider circle of light. This enables us to light a wider area, but we still have that very, very soft edge shadow to the edge of the light source. To control this even further, if we want to use this reflector as a general purpose reflector, a brolly reflector, we can still do that, but to control further, we add a honeycomb grid, which has a very, very narrow beam coming through it, which controls and tightens up the pool so we can put the light exactly where we want it in the image. You can see immediately the difference a honeycomb grid has. So instead of having all the light spilling out, we've now narrowed where the light goes and we've got a very controlled pool of light in the middle. We have a graduated edge, which is a very soft graduation out of the image, but this gives us enough control to be able to highlight down the edge of somebody's head or even across the shoulder and down the arm. It's a really effective hair light and is a little bit more modern than using a snoot. After the 18 centimeter reflector we've just used with the grid, the next step up is the 21 centimeter reflector, which is a 50-degree angle. If we put this onto the front, we also have a recess on this modifier to put a honeycomb grid. So let's see the difference between the two setups. Okay, so now we have a pool of light that's very slightly bigger than the 18 centimeter. Let's now put the honeycomb grid in to show exactly where that tight pool of light is going to go now. There we are, so we can see we have a very slightly larger pool of light, and again it graduates off really nicely. So this is still good for a hair light or a separation light from behind, and it gives a whole host of different options for you to use. To go a step further than a honeycomb, we can use what we call an accessory holder. The accessory holder has 4 barn doors, so we can control again the light that comes through the modifier. We can also put gels in here to hold them flat against the front and make the most use out of them. This is great, and it gives a really, really nice effect when you start moving the doors in to control where that light goes. My favourite modifier to use out on location is this 40 centimeter Maxi silver. It gives hard, brilliant highlights, and it's also very good at mimicking the sun. It can give a very dappled effect of light. The quality of it is absolutely superb. It's a great throwing tool. It throws the light as far as possible, and sometimes you can gain about half a stop over a standard reflector. Let me put this on the front and show you exactly what I'm talking about. You can see immediately it's a nice tight controlled pool of light given the size of the reflector itself. It's about a 30-degree angle on this one, and it's very good at throwing the light further than it needs to. If I'm in a dappled forest, it matches the light for light quality really well. It almost gives a dappled sunlight effect. I wouldn't use it too much on people with bad skin because it will highlight every imperfection that they have. But you can also diffuse the light and move it in closer if you want to soften the overall effect. In general, it's a very hard light and very, very unforgiving. So you just need to make sure that you're shooting with the right subject before you go down that road. Taking modifying the light to the next level, we could use some different accessories. Unique to the Elinchrom system is our deflector set. It runs on a very short brolly shaft which pushes into the light and covers the flash tube to stop it being a direct light. We can bounce the light back from this surface into the reflector and back out onto the subject. There's silver, there's translucent, there's frosted, and there's gold. If we're shooting in very, very harsh sunlight or at golden hour in the evening where the light tends to be very yellow, we can put a gold reflector in to match the light quality. Be very careful with the gold when you're shooting very fair skin because you can make people look quite jaundiced quite easily. The silver one would always be my favourite, and then add some colour toning to it afterwards. The translucent deflector is also very handy. It will drop down a third to half a stop of light if you're struggling to get your light down low enough, but it will create another level of diffusion. This can be used in a reflector, but it can also be used in a softbox to add a third level of diffusion with the inner and the outer diffusers. Let's put one of these in and show you the difference in quality of light. I'm going to start off with the translucent. What you will notice straight away is that we've softened the edges off very slightly. We haven't made the light source any softer or harder, but we've added a level of diffusion. The softness and hardness of light can only take place if we make the subject smaller in comparison to our light source or larger. The larger the light source, the softer, the more natural the light's going to be in comparison to the subject. The smaller the light source in comparison to our subject, the harder, the more specular light is going to be. So adding another level of diffusion into this modifier has just taken the edge off very, very slightly by using diffused light. Let's now put the gold one in so you can see what the effect of this one has. You can now see there's a double-edged shadow. The light is quite gold or yellow looking. It's given that effect. And again, it's going to match that golden hour in the evening, giving you a different look and feel to the image, rather than shooting with a white light with yellow light as your ambient. Matching the light quality is always going to make the image look better. I hope you found this video informative. For any more information, please visit elinchrom.com or your local dealer.